Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Coach Spivey, joined my son Jordan Spivey. And if you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on our amazing tutorial videos. And also check us out at www.fathersoninnovations.com, and I'll leave a link to our website in the description below. And in this video, we're going to go ahead and check out graphing linear equations, slope-intercept form 101. So let's get started. So first things first, in order to understand the slope-intercept form, we must first understand the slope-intercept formula. So let's go ahead and identify components of the formula. So our dependent variable is going to be y, and then m is going to be our coefficient, rate, and slope of line. And you'll also hear m as being our rise over our run. And when we say rise over run, really we're just looking at a ratio of our y to our x. And then our independent variable is going to be x, and then our y-intercept is going to be b, and that's just simply where the line crosses this y-axis right here. So I went ahead and put a sample problem down here for you, and we want to go ahead and put this sample problem in y equals mx plus b form, or slope-intercept form. So the first thing we want to do is get y by itself. So I want to go ahead and add 3x on both sides, and I cross it out right here. And then so we end up having y equals 3x plus 4. And 4 is going to be our y-intercept. And I'll abbreviate that, y-intercept. And then our slope, we need this to be a fraction. So really 3, we're looking at 3 over 1. So this ends up being our slope, or ends up being our m. So now first, let's go ahead and identify or graph our y-intercept. So it's going to be right here, and then our m, or our rise and run, is going to be 3 over 1. So that means I'm going to go up 3, 5, 6, 7, then I'm going to go over 1. And if you notice, I can go up 3 again, 1, 2, 3, and go over 1. And when you continue to do this, you make a straight line. Now I can even go down 3 and go over 1, and it's still going to give us our straight line. And then we can go ahead and plot our line point through here. So let's take a look at another problem, and we have 4x plus 2y equals negative 10. And we're going to go ahead and take it and put it in this y equals mx plus b form. So the first thing we want to do is get y by itself. So we first have to remove this 4x from this side. So I subtract that 4x right there, it cancels out, and then I subtract it on this side as well right here. I'm going to rewrite my formula. So we end up having 2y equals negative 10 minus 4x. But we have another problem. We have a number in front of this y, and this y has to always be by itself. So since they're multiplying, we're going to do the opposite of multiplying, and we're going to divide this 2 on both sides. So now this 2 cancels out right here, so we end up having y equals negative 10 divided by 2 is going to give us a negative 5, then negative 4 divided by 2, that's going to give us that negative 2x right there. So now if we take a look at it, we have y equals negative 5 minus 2x. Well, I want to go ahead and put it in that y equals mx plus b format, just so it can, for cosmetic reasons, just looks better, plus is in that exact format. So I didn't do anything different with my numbers. I just swapped them around so it could be in that y equals mx plus b format. So now here's our y-intercept right here. Here's that negative 5 right there. So I'm going to label it y-intercept. And then our slope right here is going to be our negative 2. And remember, it has to be in fraction form, so we end up looking at negative 2 over 1. So that's going to be our m, and also our rise and our run. So let's go ahead and graph our y-intercept. So we come down here to negative 5, graph our y-intercept, and then our rise and run is going to be negative 2 over 1. So remember, our rise is our y and our run is our x. So we're actually going to go down 2 and 1 over to the right. And then we're going to go again, down 2 and 1 over to the right. And so we've just created our line for this equation. And that's how you do your slope-intercept form. Let's take a look at another problem. Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and take about a minute to put the following formula in a slope-intercept form and graph. And I'll go ahead and check back in with you to make sure that your work is on point. You can go ahead and pause the video now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and get started. So if we're putting this in y=intercept form or slope-intercept form, then let's go ahead and start by removing this 2x and subtracting it on both sides. So we'll rewrite our equation. 4y=8 minus 2x. I'm going to take this 4 and remove it from in front of this y. So I'm going to divide that 4 on both sides. So we end up having y=2 minus 1/2 x. And remember, for cosmetic reasons, I always like to put mine in the correct format. So y=-1x plus 2. So remember, here's our slope-intercept right here with our 2. And then our rise over 1 is -1/2. So I'm going to go down 1 and then 2 to the right. Down 1, 2 to the right. And then down 1 again and 2 to the right. And then when I make my line, it should look something like this. I know you did a good job. Let's move on to the next one. Let's go ahead and take about 30 seconds to go ahead and graph this problem and then draw a line for it. So go ahead and get started and pause the video now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So the first thing we need to do is put it in slope-intercept form, which is already in intercept form, so we didn't have to do anything. So now we need to find our rise of our run. So really we're looking at 2/1, and then our y-intercept is 5. So let's go ahead and start graphing. So here's our 5 right here. And then our rise and run, we go up 2, we go over 1, up 2, over 1. And then if we go ahead and put our line through it, it should look something like this. I'm pretty sure you did a good job. So let's go and move on to the next one. Take about a minute to put the following equation in slope-intercept form. And I'll go ahead and come around and check back in with you after that minute is up. So go ahead and pause the video now. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So first things first, like we always do, we always want to do is get our y by itself. So we need to go ahead and subtract this 9x on both sides. So it cancels out right there. I'm going to rewrite this equation, clean it up some. And then we have this 3 in front of this y. Since it's multiplying, we're going to do the opposite and divide it on both sides. So we end up having y=4 minus 3x. And so let's clean up some more. y=3/1x plus 4. Now this -3/1, remember, this needs to be a fraction so we can have our rise and run. So now we have our y-intercept right here. We're going to go ahead and graph it. And then our rise and run, I have -3. So I'm actually going to go down 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to go over 1. And then I have 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to go over 1 again. So let me erase this one right here so no one gets confused. And then I can do it again, 1, 2, 3, and go over 1. So here's our line right here. And I'm terrible at drawing lines, but you get the picture. Let's move on to our next problem. Let's go ahead and take another minute to solve the following problem. And remember, we're going to put it in slope-intercept form, which is y=mx plus b. And then we're going to go ahead and graph. So go ahead and pause the video now and get started. Welcome back, everyone. So if we're putting in y=mx plus b form, once again, we're going to get that y by itself. So we need to subtract this 2x on both sides. And it cancels out over here. Let's clean up some. So we now have 6y=-10 minus 2x. And then we're going to subtract right here. So we have 6. Divide 6 right here. It cancels out. Divide 6 here and divide 6 here. So we end up having y equals, and the number 2 can go in both of these. So we end up simplifying it. So we end up having -5/3 minus, and 2 goes into both of these numbers, so minus 1/3x. And I'll go ahead and put it in mx plus b form. So I put that -1 over 3x in the front, and then I put that -5 over 3 at the end. So remember, here's our y-intercept, and if you was to put this in the calculator, -5 over 3, that's going to give us a -1.6. So I'm going to go ahead and graph this y-intercept right here. And so if we're looking at -1.6, we're looking at about right there. And then here's our rise and our run, so that's going to be -1 over 3. So that means we're going to be going down 1 over 3. So down 1 over 3, we're going to be looking at about right here. Down 1 over 3, and so we're going to be looking at about right here. So go ahead and let's go ahead and put our line here, line through it. And excuse me if my line isn't all the way straight, but you get the idea. And that's how you graph slope-intercept form. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Coach Spivey, sign on my son Jordan Spivey. And remember to go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And check us out at www.fathersoninnovations.com, and we have that link down below in the description. Once again, like I always tell you, make sure you have a wonderful, awesome, peaceful, and positive day. Peace.